Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, Danny. We are fine, thank you.
That's great. Thank you for helping me out with this. So, today's lesson is not going to take too much of your time. It's only going to be 10 minutes. And it is going to be about teamwork. So, we're going to be learning a little bit more about it. And we are actually going to read some testimonies from people about their opinions on teamwork. And at the end of this explanation, you're going to have the time to express your own opinions, your own point of view of this whole thing. Okay. So to start us off, I want to read this short paragraph for you, and then we are going to go a little bit more in depth of what teamwork is. Okay. So, did you know that a quarter of British and American 14 to 19 years old do all sorts of part-time jobs? They sell things in shops or serve in cafes or restaurants, or they work at riding stables, farms, or even take dogs for a walk. In the UK, there are a lot of laws about teenage work. 13 to 15 years old aren't allowed to work in a factory. They can only work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. During term time, they can only work for 2 hours a day and 12 hours a week in total. On Saturdays, they are allowed to work for 5 hours, but they can't work longer than 2 hours on Sundays. During the holidays, they can work 25 hours a week. What do you think? Should teenagers work? What about for you, Mafer? Do you think teenagers should work or not?
Okay, for me, teenager work is important because this is a preparation for their future lives because they can get more experience, they can get new skills.
Yeah, that's very good. And it is true. We can get some good experiences from that. Teenagers can. Um, Now we're going to read these testimonies. There's a few testimonies we have here about people and their opinions on teenage work. Some of them are teenagers, some of them aren't, but their opinions and views are very valuable for what we are doing today. So I am going to read some of them, and you are going to help me out with some as well. So the first one, Rosie from the USA says, I am 15 and I work in a cafe. I do the washing up and I make tea and coffee. I love it. It gives you a sense of responsibility. Okay, then the second testimony we have is from someone from Argentina named Gabriel. So he says teenagers shouldn't work, straightforward. They should study hard for their exams. Education is more important than money. Next person says, I'm 14 and I work at a riding stable. It's dirty work, but I love horses. It's brilliant to earn my own money. She is Lily from the UK. The next person, many teenagers don't have a choice. They need to work because their families don't have enough money. We shouldn't judge them. That is Brad from Canada. So that is a reality, a very common reality in a lot of countries and families. Okay, and then we have Catherine from Denmark. So probably Joa, can you help us reading this one?
Sure. Doing ordinary jobs such as shop work helps young people to understand other people's lives.
Okay, and the next one, Muffer, can you help us with the next one, please?
Childhood is short, teenagers should spend their time doing sport or just hanging out.
Okay, that's Albert from Spain. So we have a variety of opinions in here. And then we have two more testimonies. And Yuri from Japan says, in Japan, lots of students work part time. They buy clothes or electronic gadgets with the money, or they save up for college. I don't think teenagers should do a job during term time. It's too tiring, but in the summer, it's good to get work experience. It's Monica from Poland. So as you can see, there are lots of different opinions of what teens should do with their time, if they should work or shouldn't. And I have a question for you too. According to the things that we have read and according to the reality we live in our country, do you think teenagers should work? Do you think it's helpful for them? Joa, what do you think?
I'm agree about the teenagers should work. Although in our country is different, the teenagers cannot work. I think that it's a good opportunity to teach them to be responsible. And a role from Bill Gates for youth that I like it is burgers doesn't not take away your dignity. Your grandparents had a different word to describe it. They call it opportunity. So for that reason, I love it. If the teenagers learn the basic things now, in the future they will have more opportunities, more experience, more skills to help to others, to help them, their family. And it is that I think.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Joa. And the next question is for you, Maffer, and it is regarding the circumstances that teenagers face. Okay, so I know that for some teenagers in other countries, it may be easier to find a part-time job or not as difficult as the circumstances we see in our country. So, do you think that taking into account the circumstances, do you think teenagers should work according to the reality we live in our country? Do you think that the circumstances are good for them to work to find a job or not?
Okay, in our country, I think that it's difficult to find a term job because they don't know how to appreciate the force of the young people that want and they want to get more experience. So I think that the old people here think that the young people need to get more experience to work and to be helpful for them.
Yes, thank you so much, Maffer. And I totally agree with you. Normally, business people want young people to work at their companies, but they want experience to come with those young people. And it is something almost impossible to find young people with experience. And they aren't willing to give them that opportunity to get that experience. So I completely get that. As I said before at the beginning of the class, we are going to be able to give our own opinions and our final point of view of what teenage work is. So I would like to begin with my own, and then you are going to have time to give your final insights on this. So for me, teenage work is very helpful. It can give that sense of responsibility to teenagers, but I think that it depends on the circumstances that these people are found in. So, for example, in our country, the circumstances and the conditions that we have are not the best for young people to work, to perform these kind of activities. As Maffer said, probably the paid is not the best. Probably they don't appreciate the efforts. But I think that m- more than that, it is not safe for them. I haven't been able to see teenage work in other countries such as Australia or the US, and the conditions are way better. As we can see here in the first paragraph that we read, they have actual laws for this teenage work. But in our country, we don't have those laws. So it is a lot more difficult for us to have this those same opportunities that other people in other countries have, and still expect to get the same results as they do. Okay, so that is my opinion, and now it's your turn to give your opinion. So we begin with Joa, and then we go to Maffer. Okay.
I think that we need to we need to create circumstances that can help to be sufficient, help them to be better, and maybe change the mind of the business people, and to help them. I don't know. So, but I think that it's all. If we create the opportunities for the teenagers now, it can help them for the future.
Very good. Thank you so much, Joa. Maffer, what is your final insight?
I agree with you. Okay, for me, that we need to give an example because we need to give them we need to give to the young people the opportunity to get a work in circumstance to get them in a job. I think
That's great. Thank you so much, girls, for your opinions and for being part of this discussion. So I know that the information we've shared is very helpful, and I would like you to test how much information and knowledge you were able to acquire from this. So I have this little activity for you to complete, which is pretty much some questions about the reading and the testimonies we read and you were able to listen to. And so this is the first one. We have a second one, which is to make a list of the people that were for teenage work and those ones that were against teenage work. And at the end, we have this one here, so which is a complement to the one before. So I will send this to you and you can complete it and send it to me back. Okay. Thank you so much for your help and see you next time.
You're welcome, teacher.
Thank you. Bye bye.